Good morning, beloveds. I told you I'd be early. It's because we ran away. Um, we make one, and I'm going to use air quotes, pilgrimage a year, where we run up to go to Scarborough Fair, which is in Waxahachie, Dallas. So the easiest way to do it is to leave the night before, drive almost all the way, stay in a hotel, eat hotel breakfast, which means I had waffles. I never eat waffles, so um, except in a hotel. And then, because it's another 35 miles, it says 40 minutes. We know it takes an hour, which means at 9 o'clock I will be on the road, because that should get us there in time to put the corset on and go play. Because, you need to do that. And I find it ironic that we are spending the night in a hotel and going to play. And our title today, which it is May 7th, our title is On Having Enough Money. So let's see what that's about. The blessing of the Lord, it maketh rich, and it addeth no sorrow with it. Proverbs 10:22. Since I know the truth of my being, I will no longer hinder or retard my good from coming to me. I will expect and accept all that I need to make life happy and worthwhile. And that is The Science of Mind, page 557. If you never seem to have enough money, consider this. If you are dressed, housed, and not too hungry, then at least you have a foundation upon which to build in gratitude. The law of increase demands a seed, and if you have anything at all, it can be increased. The increase of such material good begins first in your mental and emotional life. When your viewpoint enlarges to behold greater good, then you become receptive to its flow into your life. Prosperity is a belief, not a circumstance. One prominent man who had gained and lost and gained again great fortunes said he had often been broke but never poor. As to your particular problem, never having quite enough, let's measure it against your giving. Do you give enough, laugh enough, spend enough, pray enough? Or on the other hand, do you try to do too much, spend unwisely the money you do have? I know there is an absolute principle which governs all things. I turn now from the idea of not enough money to the absolute certainty that I am in the midst of abundance because I am centered in God. I begin right now to enlarge my prosperity consciousness, giving and receiving in the right way for the right reasons. I share my abundance with others that I may continue to attract good into my life. I truly believe that it is the Spirit's good pleasure to give me the kingdom, and I give thanks for my abundance. And that is C.C. Craig Carter. All right. Prosperity is always an edgy one for me, simply because with prosperity, it tends to focus on money, and I don't believe that is. I don't even believe that that's the large portion of prosperity. It is a very important part of prosperity. Do not get me wrong. It is a very important part, but it's not the biggest part. I think Craig was onto something when he mentioned, are you dressed, housed, and not too hungry? And it's interesting that he said not too hungry. And then further on down, he said, do you give enough, laugh enough, spend enough, or pray enough? Do you give enough? And that's not necessarily about money. Do you give enough of your time? One of the best things that you can do when you're feeling sorry for yourself is to go and serve others. We have a mobile food market coming up, and we all kind of walk away from that going, all right then. It's an amazing experience. Do we wish we didn't have to do it? Absolutely. One of the things that Science of Mind does treat when we do things like that is we treat to live in a world where that's not required, and with all the stuff going on in the world today, it's the same thing. It's like we treat to live in a world where, codifying safety for everybody isn't necessary, where we can live together as, children of God, knowing each other. We don't, that's the world we treat for. But we understand, right now, there are real concerns, and we go out and we do what we can. And so that's part of the prosperity. It's like, okay, we're this is the world that we are treating for, and this is what we can do now. So to get there. And so he says, do you give enough? Do you give enough? And it doesn't have to be money. It can be time. Laugh enough. Because a large part of prosperity is attitude. It is absolutely attitude. Do you laugh enough? Is there enough joy in your life? And if there isn't, what can we do about that? I'm not saying what can you do about that? What can we do about that? How can we assist that? What is it that we can do to bring more joy into your life? So that's why I have four-leggeds with fur. They bring joy in my life. My partner brings joy into my life. And that's what today is about. Today is about going out and bringing joy. And do you spend enough? And then later on he says, do you spend wisely? Because all of your funds can't be just to subsist. You need to make sure that you do spend some of your funds wisely on fun. It's important. I mean, what are you working for if you're not having fun? Which is not to say go quit your job, what is it in the end that you want? So you need to make sure that you take those occasional days and go have fun. And yet be wise, and then pray enough. And that's that hard one, because we talk about, and one of the things that sent me into ministerial school was the realization of what pray without ceasing means. It's like every thought can be creative. Every thought can be creative. And that's why it's important to watch the trend of your thoughts. Is the trend of your thoughts creative, or is the trend of your thoughts destructive? And what are you going to, if you're paying attention to that. So, when you are thinking, are you constantly thinking about how behind the bus you are? Or are you thinking creatively? Are you making the most of what you've got? And then are you looking around to seeing all that you actually do have? And sometimes you find that maybe you have a little too much, and you let some of that go to make space for other things. And that can be activities, or it can literally be stuff, but it can also be your time. Like if you're overscheduled, and too rigid with your routine, and you don't make time to run away and go and do something fun. So there's that. And all of that is included in that prosperity consciousness. And a lot of the times when you reevaluate your life and you reevaluate your thinking, you find that you had more than you thought you did. All right. So May 7th, on having enough money. I'll let you add the proverb. It's Proverb 10:22. Go read it. The blessing of the Lord, it maketh rich, and it addeth no sorrow with it. People get weird about money. They just do. That's one of the things that I think has helped me the most when in dealing with money, is I don't think of money as a thing of itself. It's energy. It's an exchange of energy. And that really is one of the things where they talk about it. It's like you are being paid in money for your job to spend to do other things. Is it an even exchange of value? Since I know the truth of my being, I will no longer hinder or retard my good from coming to me. I will expect and accept all that I need to make life happy and worthwhile. So that's from the Science of Mind text. Since I know the truth of my being. What is the truth of your being? You are a beloved child of God. That is the worth of your being. So expect and accept the good coming to you. If you never seem to have enough money, consider this. If you are housed, dressed, and not too hungry, then at least you have a foundation. And that was what Jesse was talking about, Reverend Jesse was talking about on Sunday, was the foundation. You have a foundation upon which to build in gratitude the law of increase. Okay, in which to build in gratitude. The law of increase demands a seed, and if you have anything at all, it can be increased. The increase of such material good begins first in your mental and emotional life. Let's go back to the trend of your thoughts. Do you constantly think you are running behind the bus? Do you constantly feel you are running behind the bus? Well, if you do, that's where you want to start. Let's start by getting on the bus, mentally and emotionally. When your viewpoint enlarges to behold a greater good, seeing the big picture, then you become receptive to its flow in your life. When you change your attitude towards prosperity, it opens up avenues of prosperity to come to you that you might not have been aware of in the first place. Prosperity is a belief, not a circumstance. It's an attitude. And then he tells you, one prominent man who had gained and lost and gained again great fortune said he had often been broke, but never poor. It was a mindset for him. As to your particular problem, never having quite enough, let's measure it against your giving. Do you ever give enough, laugh enough, spend enough, pray enough? Or, on the other hand, do you try to do too much, spend unwisely the money you do have? Do you try to do too much? And I know a whole lot of people that do try to do too much. Sometimes what we need is a break. Sometimes what we need is a rest. So, I know there is an absolute principle which governs all things. I turn now from the idea of not enough money to the absolute certainty that I am in the midst of abundance because I am centered in God. I begin right now to enlarge my prosperity consciousness, giving and receiving in the right way for the right reasons. I share my abundance with others that I may continue to attract good into my life. I truly believe that it is the Spirit's good pleasure to give me the kingdom, and I give thanks for my abundance. So the mission today, should we choose to accept it, and I'm going to take it out of the treatment at the bottom, which I'll show you. So, quotes, talk, treatment. This book's going to fall apart by the end of this. The mission today, should we choose to accept it, is to enlarge our prosperity consciousness, giving and receiving in the right way for the right reasons. All right? Because that's what prosperity is about. Prosperity is about exchange. It's not all about getting. It is about giving as well. So that is the mission for today. And then the rest of it is to the regular spiritual practice that I encourage you to do is to do something loving for yourself, do something kind for yourself, do something compassionate for yourself, which today for me is to go play with my partner and to remember to drink plenty of water because it's going to be a hot one out there. So Whatever it is that is loving, kind, and compassionate, please practice on yourself every single day. You deserve your own love. You deserve your own kindness. You deserve your own compassion. Always. You're a beloved child of God in whom God is well pleased, always and forever. All right. So do something to engage your mind and body, whatever that looks like. Get a face full of bright light. The clouds haven't burned off yet, but as you can see, I have bright light, as the halo of my hair here indicates. And drink plenty of water. Summer is setting in today in Texas. It's going to be in the 90s with the heat index. Where I normally live, the heat index is going to be in the hundreds. I think it's only supposed to hit 97 here, but still, that's hot. That's hot. And it's just the beginning of May. So drink plenty of water and open the windows of your soul. Allow the breath of heaven to remind you do live in heaven right here, right now. It's all around you all the time. So take Emma's advice. Look for the good and praise it. And you know where you can start looking for that good? In the mirror. Because you are good. You are good. Always. So have a great day, an amazing day, a wondrous day, a fantastic day, an amazing day, a go play day. Or if you have to work day and then go play. Or rest day if you need that too. A good day. And if that is too much pressure, simply have a day because you are enough just as you are. All right. Reverend David should be on around 5 p.m. with you. I will be back with you at 9 a.m. with my regularly scheduled background. It's simply a day trip. And we'll have an amazing service for you tomorrow. Until then, if you need us, catch us on the social medias. We are Creative Life Spiritual Center, Creative Life Spark, and I am the running Rev Ryan on the social medias. So take care of yourself. Know that you're loved. Know that I will see you next time. All right, beloveds.